#Real Race Talk. It's the Revved Up Sports Show talking local, regional, and national action. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Welcome in, friends. Another Monday. It is #Real Race Talk, the Revved Up Sports Show. As we get in, diving in, talking all the good stuff. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee down south, and I'm Rodney Rodriguez up north. And we are so excited to be in your TVs and smart speakers and all that different stuff that we are a part of tonight. Welcome in, Bobby. How we doing, brother?
Now that I'm not in Houston rain, torrential rainstorms coming back from the Palace of Power, today actually hadn't been so bad. Yesterday was rough, just to say a little bit with the weather and stuff like that. It's normally a three-ish hour drive, depending on, Houston proper traffic from Katy on into the Speedway in 610. But it is a good, solid tick over 4 hours to come back, doing about, I think I averaged about 55 miles per hour. I mean, my truck said I got 22 and a half miles per gallon. That's how slow I was going on the way back.
Man, it was a mess, and I think that we knew that was going to happen. And with the action that we had on Saturday night, I think we lucked out because at one point we did try to, our race staff tried to rush that show a little bit because, you weren't supposed to get rained on Saturday night. And man, that lightning and all that, my high school football instincts were kicking in because I'm seeing all this lightning, and I'm like, we can't be doing this shit. We can't be doing this shit. And I ran into Terry Barden upstairs, and I go up there. I'm like, Terry, it's lightning everywhere. And typical racer, he's like, I don't see nothing. I'm like, Terry, it's right outside the window. But man, we got that in and kind of lucked out on that. But you're right, man. That ride home, man, that was a bitch. That was a bitch.
Yeah, it was rough coming back. I feel sorry for those guys and pulling them cars and stuff in that rain too. Coming back on Sundays. That was pretty solid, rough road coming back. But it was the one time that I've been in Houston where everybody wasn't trying to go at light speed, so that was a plus. Everybody actually slowed down like they should have.
I got to tell you, Bobby, it was one of those things where me coming back on 290. I actually, everybody's kind of bottlenecked up there in all the lanes right there. I mean, I just went to the HOV lane. I mean, I drive a little bitty old thing, but it was like nobody's in the high occupancy vehicle lane. So I'm just riding by, wipers full blast because I'm getting all the spray off of the big trucks and everything. But that's kind of what I did, and I made it home in a pretty good timely fashion. But it definitely was a mess. And Russell, thanks for checking in. Good ride the other night, man. Good ride, Russell, with one hell of a race there with Mr. Villarreal there. That was really fun to watch. Our man Doug Rollo checking in. Man, I am glad that we got dudes like Doug Rollo checking out this shit show, because that's when we know that we're doing something right.
One of the best, right? One of the original All American Motorsports anchors. One of the anchors of North Texas announcing for sure.
That's right. That's right. We'll have to get him on here and have some conversations with him here very, very soon. On the show tonight, we're going to talk to Kenneth Canales is going to join us at 6:45 or so, 7:45 his time. We'll get him on, and then right around 6 or 7:10, man, Eastern time, I'm all thrown off over here. Going to talk to Bo Beckno. Bo knows late models. They'll be on the track with you at Texana on Saturday.
Right.
And then 7:30, a little special treat. We're going to talk to Alan Dietz from Racing America, and I think that's going to be fun because that's going to be that's just three old rednecks talking racing right there, Bobby. You, Alan, and I think we're just going to have some, and it's live, so we're just going to sit there and bullshit going back and forth about the state of racing. And I know that Alan covers asphalt racing, but that dude knows dirt, so we can kind of chop it up a little bit with all that stuff.
And then we need to hire a translator for me and Alan. I mean, it's kind of like some people are like, if they can understand me on a weekly basis, they should be able to understand Alan fairly good.
Well, it's going to be one of those things. I think the crowd may be tonight like you were with Max and I having a conversation on Saturday night.
No, yeah, probably. I only know I'm very in poquito. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Max Kayas and I the other night were having a great conversation after the races there in Victory Lane. After everything was all said and done, just kind of doing some stuff there, and I think the only thing that people could understand was shit. And every now and then there was a damn and an F word every now and then. I think that's the only things that people could understand. People walk by and looking at Max and I, and they're like, "What in the hell? Where am I?" For crying out loud. Houston, Texas, bitches. That's how we do it there. But yeah, a great weekend and a great weekend coming up, Bobby. I think that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about. Here a little bit later on. I mean, when we talk about, you want to talk about a loaded weekend. I mean, because we've got racing on the asphalt again at H&P. But dude, I mean, we'll do the race on calendar towards the end of the show, and we'll start talking about all of that stuff. But dude, it's like it's nonstop. This is like racing heaven when it comes to everything going on this weekend.
I mean, there is a lot of stuff happening this weekend, more so than what I thought. Just because my calendar doesn't know, my personal calendar only includes basically the 4 South Texas track, because that's the ones we're closest to and interact with the most. But man, when you throw in a lot of them tracks from up north, I mean, they are rocking and rolling. A couple of good races coming up at Rocket and all kind of stuff going on. So I'm looking forward to the race weekend. Race On's going to be busy channel this weekend for sure.
It's going to be a lot going on, and welcoming in everybody. Jason, we missed you on the track, my man. Back to Russell once again. I mean, we talked about it last week as we opened our show, and we're talking about our good friend Bob Smith, and shortly thereafter, we lost him. And that man, I hate that. I hate that, and Arden had messaged me and said, be thinking about Dad and be thinking about us this weekend. We definitely were, as that was going on. I mean, I didn't want to make a big old deal as I was the track chaplain this weekend. Jeez Louise, it's always a bad thing. But I didn't want to, make it any bigger than. I mean, that's one of those things to where I know those folks are dealing with that as they need to. But we did have Bob in our hearts, and I was glad to see that you had the 50 car out there, even though Richard Fitch, man. Talk to him. That concrete don't move still, right?
Still don't move, does it?
Oh my God, what a hard shot right there. But that definitely sucked right there. But yeah, our thoughts and prayers there with the Smith family. As we lost Bob, and that's one of those dudes that's just a good dude, just a really good dude, and we are definitely going to miss him. Bobby, I do want to ask you, and we'll get into the racing stuff here at some point. I think I told you on Friday I was going to see The Fall Guy, and I had my doubts on it.
Was Heather Thomas? Did she make a cameo?
She did. She did. She did. But anyway, I got to tell you, dude. You know how I am about old school stuff and remakes and all this different. It's very loosely tied on to what we used to watch on ABC with Colt Seavers and The Fall Guy and all of that. That is a fucking entertaining movie, dude. I highly recommend to anyone, if you want to watch an action flick, go see that. It's really, really good. The dude that plays Colt, who is that? Ryan Gosling? Or no.
Yeah, he just played King.
Yeah,
the Fall Guy. Yeah,
that's right. Ryan Gosling. That dude is unbelievable. Emily Blunt is extremely beautiful and does a great job as well. It is a movie worth watching. I'll tell you that. If you're a car enthusiast, go check it out. And that's saying a lot coming from me because I don't recommend anything that's modern. Go see that shit.
Guess I have to take the night off next week and go.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's really, really good. It is really, really good if you get the chance to go check that stuff out. Bobby, we can we'll dive into this and we could touch on it a little bit later on. Jared Maupin. 2 words right there. I was talking to someone earlier today, and we were talking about the MVP of what we saw on Saturday night at H&P. And it was a very close race between the big O screens, super screen, and Jared Maupin. Very close. They were that close because they were both that spectacular. Jared Maupin getting in that truck and the Outlaw, didn't really have any doubts about the Outlaw because I know that thing has horsepower and drives, kind of somewhat to what he's used to. But that dude is amazing. I'm sorry. I mean, people are like, get off his D. I'm sorry. He's that good. He is that good.
Well, I think when I talked to him a little bit, obviously Owen got to see the firsthand emotion from him when he interviewed him on the front stretch. But when he came back through Tech, and I got a chance to talk to him in those in-depth Victory Lane interviews that I do downstairs, he was pumped. I mean, he was more pumped after that than I've seen him pumped when he does when we do some of the dirt track interviews that he wins at.
Yeah.
I mean, he was excited. I said, because I was going to wait for him to do the truck. He said, no, I got time. He said, the truck's great. He said, we're not changing anything on the truck. So he says, we got time. So we wheeled him in there and did the interview a couple of minutes worth. And he was just genuinely excited. And he had that spark. He's always got a spark when he wins, but there was something a little extra special with that spark he had on Saturday night after that Outlaw win, man. I mean, he was kicking ass, and he made it look easy. But there's nothing easy about what he did there on Saturday night. I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, there's a handful of guys that we talk about. They just need a couple of breaks to get to that next level, and he's on that cusp right there.
Yeah, no doubt. Our man Gerald Boyd checking in. Yeah, a couple of 2 race nights in a row, man. This is kind of feeling like old times right here, Gerald. And of course, your stories and your insight and everything kind of makes it worth the trip right there. It's like, man, I just want to go hang out with Gerald. I mean, forget all the other stuff and just do that. So I do think we've got something else going on right here. Kind of feels like normal is what it feels like again, honestly, to me. But the thing there with getting back to Maupin, I mean, he was and the thing is, with the win in the Outlaws, the way that he did that, I mean, to chase Barker. And look, Robert Barker is one of the best that has ever dove into one of these super stocks or whatever you want to call it. And the way that Jared, I mean, kind of sat back there and just waited for his time and made the pass. And to get that win I think it's one thing. I know he didn't win the truck race. I know that wound up the way that it wound up. But to me, the bigger feat was winning the Outlaw race, only in the sense that he was able to overcome and race the way that he did, and to beat Barker. I mean, because Barker, I love.
He's the only one. He's the only one to beat Barker in a hell of a long time over there.
I love Big Rob. I mean, that's one of my best buddies right there. But to sit there and watch him do that and to win that race, because there's been a lot of folks that have come through here and from other parts of the country that haven't been able to do that. And I know it's the best equipment. I know that 96 car is good, but still, if you put me in that car, I'd find a way to fuck it up. And he didn't. I mean, it was a really good drive from Maupin, and I only hope that we get to see him on pavement again very soon.
We can only hope. Everybody wants to get him at the racetrack this weekend, and he's got options. He could have Houston again. He wants to go run the Stems race there at Cotton Bowl. He wants to go run the late models there at Texana. So he's got a few options there where he can go. So he's got apparently has a ride to run the $5,000 to win factory stock race up at Boot Hill. So he's definitely got options. So I think, that's always a good thing with racer when you got options. And he's going to be a contender regardless of which racetrack he shows up at too. And I mean, the fact that the truck ended up on the hood back to second place, it's crazy. Just drove the piss out of that truck.
That's that exactly. I mean, he did. I talked about it on the broadcast to where in the first race he was the chaser, second race he was the chasee, and I mean, in the race Kruger, I mean, there's history there. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I mean, to watch him come down to that and the way that they chase that thing out, I mean, it was totally great. Let's check out some comments right here. There's a man right there. RNMinstallations.com. It is Rick Polero. He's a natural shoe. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about what he's done. Owen Pittman checking in right there. Paid the $500 bounty. There you go. I mentioned that. I think people had forgotten about that because we talk about that. And I mentioned it right at the beginning of the race. And boom, there you go. Jared, first time out. And he gets that done. And one more time right here. It is, drove it all the way back to second. There you go. That's exactly what he did. So one hell of a night there for our man, Jared Maupin. And like you said, Bobby, I mean, it's like, what does he do this week? I know what he's doing this week, but I wish that he was coming back to the pavement. And Robert Barker, classy. That dude right there. I mean, he comes out. I mean, the race ends, and he's right there next to him. You know, giving him a attaboy. I mean, that's great. That's great. That's really cool stuff.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. The sportsmanship that Robert shows. Some of these younger generations, well, hell, all generations in some aspect, could learn a lot by the sportsmanship showed by Robert Barker.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's dive in here with our guest list, talking to all the great folks that we've been talking to tonight. And here we go. We're heading to Orlando, Florida. This dude, I think, has probably just gotten back as a traveling wheelman once again right here. When we talk about young dudes doing really, really good stuff, how about this guy right here? I'm going to say it the way that I love to say it. El piloto del número 7 modified. It is my man, Kenneth Canales. Kenneth, how we doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well, my man. Doing well. So, trip back, how was that for you? We were talking about weather. How long did it take you to get out of Houston?
Not too long. We grabbed the first flight out, but unfortunately, because of the rain, like they wouldn't let people onto the tarmac and work. So it was like a few hour delay, and eventually we got home just in time for a wedding. So yeah, I was the groom in that, so I needed to be there.
Oh, damn. You didn't tell me that, man. That's stress right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You didn't mention it in the Victory Lane interview either, man, that you were grooming a wedding the next day. No wonder you were so excited. I thought you were happy because you won your first race ever. Come to find out you're happy because you got to go to a wedding on Sunday. Wait, which one were you more nervous at? The race in the mod, or the being into the wedding? Which one were you more nervous at?
No, definitely the mod. I completely forgot about the wedding. I was more excited, and I honestly, I cared more about the race than the wedding. So
yeah. Good. Until it's your own. That's a very smart answer. That's a very smart answer. So, all right, Canales, here we go. Let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this race. You had one of the best that's ever been in a modified in the state of Texas, in the country, Armadillo. I mean, you had that dude up there. Let's talk about that race. You were racing there with Diago. I mean, you guys were kind of it looked to me like you had the fastest car on the track, but you just kind of sat back and you waited until the time when you could make your move. And then you made two really good moves. Take us through that whole 50 lap race.
Mm-hmm. So during that race, it was quite a handful. We struggled in the weekend. I couldn't get the entry into one, but yeah. After that, I felt the car come alive during the race, and we were, like you said, we were the quickest car. We put down the quickest time, and I saw and I felt that we were the quickest car. So after we got past the 72, Johnny Walker, he didn't make it easy for me, but eventually we got by. I just chased them down, and then I knew that I just had to wait for them to burn their stuff or wait for an opportunity to happen, and then eventually got past them. And thanks to that yellow, we were able to capitalize on the 72 and 79 and 54 getting together, and we just went around the outside, and that was it.
So we talked about it being your first win versus you had some really solid runs in the truck. Now, obviously, everybody knows the truck is a completely different chassis, metric based, not as much power to weight ratio as the modified. When you switched from the truck into the modified, how much of your personal driving stuff did you have to change to be more of a fit in the modified to be able to kind of control that power to weight ratio?
Right. For the truck, I had to change a lot how I steered and how I got back on the gas, because on the truck you can accelerate pretty hard and just let it go up. But with the modified, if you floor it, you're going up too fast or you get too tight, and like you kind of have to just baby it. And the steering was pretty more sensitive, so it took some adjustment for both the feet and hands.
Yeah. Isn't that the thing with the modified, Kenneth, that it's got so much horsepower, and that's a very little tire that you're racing on. So I think that's one of those things with the truck. It's going to kind of float it a little bit, but man, you've got so much horsepower under your foot with that modified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, I really like the skinny tires because it really puts more emphasis on the drivers to control the throttle pedal, and it makes it more the driver who's got to really nail those if you want to have a good result in the modified races.
Yep.
So, Kenneth, talk about the transition with Max. Obviously, he's building a massive program down there, driver development program. Talk about how you got hooked up with Max and what Max means to the program with your program.
Mhm. So I just was coming out of racing in go-karts, and I was looking for something more serious, whether that was in single seaters or stock cars, oval racing. And we had a driver for an MCM. He reached out to me. He told me about what the team is and like what Max is trying to build. We went up to Mobile in December of 2021, and we practiced in the pro truck. And after that, Max said, "Let's run the Derby in the trucks." And then that was my first race. Then we ran up to Speed Weeks to run in the trucks as well. We qualified second, just 200th of 200 seconds off pole. And I remember that because that hurt a lot. But we ran fourth, and then we finished the season in Houston in the trucks. Ran some some late models, and then here we are in the modifieds.
So for you in the modified, you look so comfortable in there, Kenneth. I mean, to watch you drive that thing. So what all? Obviously, I think you guys want to win the championship there in Houston. Are you guys going to maybe float around, do some mobile? You got the modifieds of Mayhem, you got Pensacola, New Smyrna. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities there. What do you think is going to happen, especially now since you've won already in one of these things?
Mhm. Yeah, so the program we have with Max is obviously we want to focus on the Houston Championship, but we also want to go out and be more diverse and do bigger tracks. Like you said, Mobile, we got Pensacola. I don't know about New Smyrna if they run the modifieds down there, but yeah, for sure. We want to focus on championship, but we're also here to learn and explore and get as much knowledge as we can in these cars.
Absolutely.
So the one question I have is, do you get a chance to touch that car? Like Max has like so many crew guys down there. It's like do you get a chance to like tighten a bolt or anything, or you just want to drive? Or I mean, he's got a million pick you guys down there, not including JD. We're not going to talk about JD and all the work he does or claims to do, but talk about all the crew guys you got over there.
Yeah, one of the good things about working with Max is that we're more overstaffed than understaffed. So I can easily just hop out of the car, tell them what I feel. And like by the time I turn around, the car's already up on jacks and they're already doing things to it. I mean, it's a good thing to be able to focus on giving feedback, but it's also a good thing to work on your own stuff so you can get more knowledge on what you're driving. Always thankful to be with that team.
Canales, I think one of the things that's most cool to me is when I first met you. I mean, it was with your family. Your family are so supportive of you, and it doesn't matter if it's in Houston or Florida or wherever you're going. I mean, they are so much a part of your program. I know with MCM and all of that, but talk about that because having that family base, having la gente, that's the most important thing to me. I think when it comes to this.
Yeah, I mean, all of my races, my parents have always been there supporting me, and it's a good feeling because they're always there to support you, no matter if you did a bad race, if you had a good race. And we've had recently not the best luck at some of these races, so confidence went down, everything went down. But you have that support, like my parents have been. I've been able to just stay here and just be happy and keep the pressure off and focus and be able to achieve a result like we did last week or this past Saturday. So I have a lot to thank for them support wise. They've always been there for me.
So in terms of back to back, how many is it going to be? Like you talk about flying back and forth between here and or Houston and Florida. Sometimes that can be logistically challenging, like you said, with the rain and stuff like that. Are plans already set in place for you to end up, come back on Friday night? Or are you going to come back Saturday morning? When are you going to come back to the track?
Yeah, we're going to come back Friday morning, practice that Friday afternoon, stay for the race, obviously, on Saturday, and then fly back early Sunday morning to be back home.
Man. Yeah. So so for you guys, about your family, so your mom to spend the weekend and maybe back. It got to be a pretty.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. Some background noise. So
You're good.
for you, Mother's Day weekend, you got to be pretty cool there.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty cool to be able to race the day before Mother's Day. Maybe I'll get something planned for her. So for that Sunday, so she feels appreciated as she should.
Absolutely.
Probably nothing better than giving her another trophy. That'd probably be the best thing to give her. You know, just out of a quick tip of advice, another trophy to give her might be really nice for her. So talk about the chances of going back to back. I mean, obviously you got the momentum on your side right now. I mean, it doesn't. Normally when the track takes a break, you got a couple of weeks in between races, but now you got 7 days. The momentum's probably not going to disappear in 7 days. So what's your outlook for this weekend? Same thing, or business as usual, or you want to kick it up a notch?
No, obviously I want to run a better weekend. I want to start the weekend better. I feel like practice and qualifying was a struggle, and that made this race harder to win. So obviously, as we all know, track position in Houston it's hard to, if you don't have that track position, it's hard to win. And I got really lucky on that restart. That if I can do a better qualifying, it'd be an easier race to win. I mean, the competition in Houston is pretty rough with Johnny Walker. You've got Joe, who just came for this race. I'm not sure if he's coming back for next race, but you also have Diego Moscato, and he's a rookie as well as me, but he's also quick. So I know the competition's fierce, but I don't want to be overconfident, but I felt like I figured it out with this car, and I want to come back and I want to win this weekend.
Yeah, Joe said he's coming back, so it's going to be a stacked field. So, final thoughts right there, Canales. Talk about all the other folks. I mean, Max, your parents. Talk about everyone that makes this happen for you, brother.
So during this weekend, the most I talked to is Max. We've got Max's dad, Felipe, and we got JD. And those three are some really hardworking people, I tell you. Max is busy working with everyone else on the team. JD's also, he's either got a tool or he's got a tire in his hand. And Felipe, he's not really mentioned or known, but that man is always working. He's always under a car figuring out everything. So I'm really thankful to be working with those three guys and love them like my brothers.
So, Canales, tell me here. Owen's asking. I mean, you're should you single car qualify? What do you think for this weekend?
Single car qualifying in Houston. I've done them in other tracks with the trucks and the prolates. It looked fun for the Outlaws and the trucks, and I think it would be more interesting because you don't get any chance to warm up your tires. You just got to go. So I think it would be nice to see the modifieds doing a single car qualifying at Houston.
No doubt.
Well, there you go. Not so much breaking news, but I've got a feeling that's what we might see on the schedule. So, dude, congratulations, man. That was a hell of a run. Seems like there was a hell of a party, too, over in the pits when you guys got done because y'all were taking pictures till wee hours in the morning, even after Rodney and I left. So, congratulations on a good run. We look forward to seeing how you do this next weekend up at the Palace of Power.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I hope to see you guys there.
Take care, buddy. We'll see you next weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, there he goes, Kenneth Canales. How about that, dude? I tell you, that is a fine young racer right there, my friend. That's a wheelman that has made a very quick impact with everything that he's doing. So, man, glad to see him win that race. And because it was, Bobby, he was the fastest car. I know Joe and those guys were doing what they were doing, but he was the car I mean, the lap times, everything, he was nailing everything he needed to do.
Well, I thought he'd won before in the trucks. So when I asked him, hey, is this your first win in the modified? He goes, no, dude, this is my first win, period. And I'm like, oh, well, no wonder you're so damn excited.
Yeah.
So he was pretty excited. We'll work on getting those interviews up and rolling. But it's a short turnaround this week to get the winners interviews done. I have them sent off to the video editor. So hopefully the video editor will try to get them, edited and cut here pretty quick. So we'll see how it goes. I got people that I'm sending the raw footage to because they already want the raw footage. They're like, is it done? I'm like, no, it's not done yet. It's only Monday.
So here we go. I talked earlier. I think you guys probably saw on Facebook. Of course, we are racing again at Houston, and we are talking dirt track tonight. Don't worry. It's just been very rare that we have a back-to-back on the asphalt. Coming up this weekend at Houston, it is a Mother's Day weekend, and I was talking to my man Owen Pittman, and Owen Pittman is doing things with the bus, with the screen, all these cool things that are going on with we'll call them 317 awards productions that are happening. Let me give you a little video thing. I don't know if Bobby and I will be able to talk while this is going on, but let me show you a quick little video of something that I ran across. Hold on here while I'm working several screens here tonight, so everything's muted here. So take a look at this. Take a look at this. I think you guys can probably see what's going on here. That's regular cars on the racetrack, just kind of out there doing things. Can you see that, Bobby?
I see slow motion, like picture by picture, frame by frame, but I can see it.
Yeah, on the regular feed, it's rolling. So what you have going on right there is spectator drags is what's happening right there in that shot is what's going on. Coming up Saturday at the HMP Oval, spectator drags will reappear. I used to watch them in San Antonio. I saw stuff get wrecked. I think let's take another look right here. Hopefully that's not going to be the result. The car's spinning out. Spectator drags on Mother's Day weekend at the HMP Oval. And that's going to be pretty badass. That is all I got to say about that. Spectator drags. Whatever you drive to the track, you can get out there and race. You can get out there and race. Owen checks in. By the way, send mama pictures to the name Big O Screens 1 at gmail.com. And we'll talk about your mamas. We're going to talk about your mamas as well. How about that? Spectator drags. Here's how it's going to work. So kind of what the plan is, when you have that time in between, when you have when we do our heat races, usually at 7, in between, between qualifying and all that, that's when the spectator drags are going to happen. So you'll want to be there early. You'll want to be there by, I would say 6:30. And we'll figure out a way. Go to the HMP Oval Facebook page, hmpovaltrack.com. We'll figure out and tell you fans how to register for that. And it's going to be a pretty simple concept. You'll get out there and you'll go one-on-one. You race one-on-one, and how you choose to race each other, you're going to have to sign a waiver. You can't just do this for the hell of it. You'll sign a waiver. You're going to get 3 laps. 3 laps, and whoever wins at the end of that 3rd lap is going to advance. And we're thinking probably sometime around whatever the main event's going to be. Whatever the main event's going to be, probably the Outlaws or the Trucks. Then we'll have whoever advances will race in that final spectator drag feature race. That's what we're going to do. Spectator drags, friends. The real deal, like we used to do back in the old days, bringing back all the old stuff.
Well, they didn't have no big ass TVs in the old days.
They never had that. Nobody has ever had that. That's
not locally. Last one I saw was at the Derby, and it wasn't that big.
Yeah, no. So, and that'll be the cool thing, because if you bring folks out, and of course we will get that, all the details are going to be posted on the schedule that comes out. And of course the schedule comes out very, very early. But that's going to be the thing for you guys to go ahead and trophies courtesy of 317 Awards. There you go. So you're going to win a trophy. You're probably not going to walk away with a lot of money. As a matter of fact, you're going to walk away with no money. But you're going to have a chance to get on the racetrack, and you're going to have a chance to win a 317 Award trophy. That's all coming up this weekend. And that's for The moms can do that too. I would hope that a mom would win that. That would be really cool.
That's all I got to say. We missed some good stuff in Houston, but I got some good stuff planned for this weekend down at Texana. So it's gonna be a good weekend for racing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a whole thing. I mean, and we'll talk about that here a little bit later on, to where there are going to be so many different races that are going to be going on, and we'll go through that list courtesy of Race On here a little bit later on. But it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot, and hopefully folks can come out and here's the whole thing about it. I mean, it's going to be a head-to-head thing, but like we said, so you're not going to win it on the first lap. I mean, if you get a badass, Trans Am or whatever, I don't know, Corvette, you name it, racing against one of the 4 cylinders. I mean, you got to run 3 laps. Got to run 3 laps, and try to advance. And then you get to take a picture with Lauren as well when you get the trophy. So it's a win-win all the way around for fans. And here's the other part of it that I was talking to Owen about. There's not going to be any of this. You get Jeff Gordon showing up for the spectator drags. We're not doing none of that bullshit. This is truly a spectator drag, fan, spectator, enthusiast type thing, is what this is.
Yeah, we should call it the not drag races, because they're going to think they're going to run down the drag strip at the H&P.
No,
so maybe we should.
We'll
I know, but I mean, it's on the circle track, so we got to be careful when we say fan drag. Because they may be thinking they're going to go over there, H&P Oval Street Stock Challenge.
We can call it the Dizzy Bat Race because you're going in circles. So that's what we can call it. Like at the baseball game, when you spin around the bat and then you have to run. That's what we can call it. So something like that.
Yeah.
But, I think it's going to be really cool. Doug, I love this idea right here. Australian Pursuit. The thing about it is that would be great on pavement, but you need about 10 to 12. 15 cars. If we could get our stock car class, and I did kind of rename that the other day to where I'm not calling it a factory stock or a bootlegger. We're just calling it stock cars because that's what they are. That would be ideal with something like that. Or the Ecos. The Ecos could do that.
Yeah. Well, they stood down in Corpus years ago there at CC Speedway.
Dude, all the time. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. Chris Carroll, what if I wear a wig? Oh, God, come on. Man, don't step on our gig here. We're trying to do something cool for the fans, Chris. Come on, man. Bobby Joe New tried that in the Powder Puffs back in the day.
Yeah. He made for an ugly woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great dude, hell of a racer, but didn't make the prettiest woman.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that is kind of your breaking news right there, is that spectator drags, or whatever we're going to call it. Spectators on the track is what we'll call it, as they get to run 3 laps. Winner takes all, a badass 317 awards trophy. And not only that, bragging rights, is it's something that could, escalate and could become a regular thing there. I would rather do that than the meet and greet, in my opinion.
Well, you can do both.
At any track.
Yeah. Well, the meet and greets help. You can do those in the beginning and at the end of the races. Maybe one time in the middle, but I think there'd be more people interested in cars on the racetrack than standing there on the hot tarmac in the summertime too.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, speaking of 317 awards, since they are presenting that presentation, how about a word from them?
The business are presented by 317 Awards, custom awards and trophies for all types of events and occasions. Plaques, custom trophies, custom laser engraving, custom laser cutting, custom vinyl work, banners, and more. It's 317 Awards. When you've got an award to give, you might as well give it with pride and get it from the best in the business. Check out 317 Awards.
Yes, indeed. 317 awards. Bobby, while we're talking about all the accolades this weekend, I think that there's one that we definitely have to talk to. It's sort of talking about on track, but sort of off track. How about this? Jacqueline Drake, a beauty queen. Miss North Carolina, USA right there. Our friend JKD.
I know I missed her on the Cars Tour stuff there on Friday night, but then I realized why exactly she wasn't there. I remembered. I was like, oh, yes, that's right. She's going for Miss North Carolina, and I'll be damned if she didn't win that thing.
Yeah, she did, man. She wins that, and congratulations to her. Always a very lovely lady that we all know right there. But man, how about that? I tell you, when you talk about versatile stuff, I mean, hell, you and I, neither one of us is going to win a Miss Anything or Mister Anything. But
We ain't no beauty pageants, that's for damn sure.
goddamn sure, I can promise you that. But yeah, really cool there for her, and I thought it was really cool. I saw that her dad, Dan, posted that as well, and really cool stuff right there for JKD as she wins that.
Yeah, it's cool. When you see your friends do good, right? It's one thing to have your own self do good, but when your spouse or your good friends do something really cool and kick ass that makes you feel good inside, that's what you like to have. Surround yourself with great people. When great people do great things, everybody feels good. It just makes life a whole lot better.
Yeah, it does. While ago talking to Kenneth, found a picture right there. Here he is in Victory Lane, and like you were saying, Bobby, I mean, I had to really think about it there for a little bit when I was talking about him. I thought he had won a truck race. I knew he had gotten really close and then made the move up right there to the modifieds, but that was a really excited young kid right there after that race.
Yeah, no, he's super excited on the pit side interviews. So yeah, definitely had a lot going for him. So.
Yep. Really good time right there. Really good race for him to be able to get that done. All right. And we can get back on this after we talk to the couple of other folks that we still need to talk about. So Saturday was pretty cool. When we talk about close races, very close races, and we see a lot of them on dirt and we see a lot of them on pavement. But how about this? When you win by a nose, that is the finish at the Kentucky Derby right there. Damn. Mystic Dan. My goodness. I hope you guys threw some money down on that one because if you did a trifecta or whatever they call that, there was money to be made on that thing right there.
That wasn't even the closest finish of the weekend, was it?
No, it wasn't. Funny that you mentioned that because there you see right there at the bottom of that slide, and I know there's look, and I mean, there's 3 finishes right there. All of those this year. At the very top, you got Atlanta, which was the win right there for Suarez, and then you had the Xfinity finish right there in between, and then you had the finish yesterday. And Bobby, I can tell you, the race yesterday, while maybe from start to finish, I mean, that was a very entertaining race. And you have that finish, and you have the strategy, the pit strategy, everything that came down to the end right there to where that was going to tie into how that the 2 tires, 4 tires, all that. And there are still people bitching. There are still people saying that finish is wrong. God bless. Every now and then, lit up. Jeez.
Well, the timing and scoring had Buescher as the winner for a hot minute.
I saw that.
But see, one view showed that it clearly by inches that Buescher was ahead. Then there was another camera view that showed Larson by inches ahead. Then they went with that finish line camera. Now everybody's like, the lines aren't straight on the finish line. It's like, just let it be. It's the blink of an eye, a virtual tie. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. And there's no sense losing your damn mind about it. I mean, that's the top 3 finishes, the closest finishes you'll see in NASCAR. That beat the one at Darlington. It's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, for God's sakes. Now you got that one with, just a little bit of beating and banging. Yeah, Chris Buescher in that 17 car probably wishes he'd have stuffed Larson in the fence a little harder. But, I mean, it's great for us fans. That's for sure. I'm enjoying it.
And the whole thing is, I mean, this is where you go back to, I mean, so that finish right there, when you go here, back to the horse thing, I mean, that's where you had to go to the photo finish. And the horses don't have a transponder. The horses don't have, timing loops that are built into the race. I don't think they do. I mean, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think you have any of that. I know the start finish line is right there, and that is officially when you get back over there. But there are scoring loops there. We that race in local short tracks know, because it's always a question, where do I put the transponder? And that's why everyone has a very, strategic place to where it's supposed to be for finishes like this. It's a scoring loop. Yeah, I know that's a start-finish line. Look, when I saw the arguments about the start-finish line being crooked and all this other shit, look, if you want to be technical, if you really want to be technical, the 17 car was below the white line. I mean, if you really want to be technical.
But that's not out of bounds. It ain't Talladega or Daytona or Atlanta.
I know. But if you really want to go back to, the start-finish line is a place where it ends the race. I mean, technically, if you want to do that, you don't race below the white line. That's the apron. But it's like, just embrace the moment, embrace that you saw history. And it was a hell of a finish. And I will tell you, even though the way that Larson came in and won that race and in the fashion that he did it, and it sucks for Busher. I like that dude. He's a buddy of mine. It sucks for him. But I still like the 03 Darlington finish better, in my opinion, because
Baden bang into the line, got DW losing his mind. I mean, that was exciting wise. That was a better finish.
Absolutely.
Stopwatch liked Kansas better.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because when you go back to that 03 finish at Darlington, it wasn't generated by a yellow flag or a overtime or whatever it's called. It was one of those things to where you watch those guys chasing each other down, and that was a great race. But what we saw yesterday, I mean, it's history. I mean, it really is history. It's a history-making race as to how that was done. And just enjoy it. I mean, there's no need to go in there and think that NASCAR's cooking the finishes or cooking the books or doing whatever else you want to think right there. It's a different time to where the technology dictates who wins the race. And that's what happened right there. And that's why from time to time with technology, it's wrong. I mean, yeah, I saw it flash. I thought Busher won, but I mean, when you go back upon further review, he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things to, when you think about it, is that it's the never ending struggle that NASCAR faces, right? The fan base is too loud. The fan base, whether it's good news, bad news, or indifferent, half the fan base gets riled up over nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I shouldn't even say half. It's probably a smaller percentage than that. It's always the smallest percentage that's the noisiest on everything, right? So for the people that are bitching and moaning, just, if it was one more lap, Truex would have smoked their ass on 4 tires. Like,
that's exactly right.
Like if it had been one more lap, Truex would have waxed them both. So the fact that it only ended up being, that close with 2 cars, I mean, I just enjoy it. That was kick ass. As you said, 3 finishes, a 10th, a second, and a third, right there. Hundredths of a second is just, or thousandths of a second rather. I mean, take it, 1, 2, 3, just like that.
All that happening in this year, it's got to be rigged. It's got to be rigged. I mean, there's no way around it. It's got to be.
I mean, they got to plan it out by the inches, especially if they had Busher winning, that's why the crew was celebrating first and got so damn disappointed when they lost, Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you. I don't know. Really cool stuff to watch right there. And for Larson, I mean, and this is where I'm even more baffled with all of this, is where I see a lot of folks complaining. And I mean, I know there's a lot of Larson fans that are dirt track fans. I mean, that they like him because he races a lot of dirt stuff. I mean, that was a dirt track win. That was how you race on the dirt track. The dude went to the top. Nobody else is going to go over there. For the life of me, I can't figure out why Busher gave him the top shelf. That's kind of the writing on the wall right there. I'm like, I know he's going up there. I don't know if he's going to pull this off. I thought maybe he'll hit the ass up against the wall and spin out and take out the other guys or whatever's going to happen right here. But when I saw that top shelf opened up and I saw the 5 car there, I'm like, where this dude's going. He's going to go up there and he's going to rim ride this bitch all the way around as much as he can.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to let it loose, and that's exactly what he did. Busher should have shoved him in the fence a little harder, but I mean, he lost it too coming out of 4. I mean, that's why he sideswiped the 17. He knocked the hell out of that 17, but it was more than an aero draft push. He just knocked the hell out of him, and that's what got him to win, because when they went side by side.
Well, and I think that's the other part of it right there, talking about Busher. I mean, that's where we talk about with this finish. That's where, in the modern day of racing, where we see stuff getting torn up, but Busher could have. I mean, Busher could have used him up and figured out a way to I mean, maybe he'd have taken himself out and kind of killed both of their chances. But I mean, Chris Busher didn't do that. I mean, he raced him as hard as he could, but he wasn't going to wreck him. And dude, I applaud that. It sucks for Chris Busher, but by golly, he could have wrecked him. I know a lot of other folks would have wrecked him or found a way to not let him win. And I'll be damned, we get the closest finish ever with just got hard nose racing, man. That's all that was.
Yep, and everybody should just enjoy it instead of bitch about it.
I know. Still waiting on Bo Beckno. I don't know what might have happened right there with Bo. I mean, Bo's usually pretty solid. But anyway, speaking of things coming up this weekend, and we'll talk about all of those at the end of the program. One thing that we'll see this weekend is the STEM series, and they head back over to Cotton Bowl Speedway. Here's a preview for you.
Cars return to Cotton Bowl Speedway. 6 great classes of race cars, including the return of the South Texas IMCA Modified Series. Gates open at 5 p.m. Come out early, visit the pit area. Racing starts at 7. Adults $20, ages 7 to 12 $10, 6 and under absolutely free. The place to be this Saturday night, May the 11th, Page, Texas, Cotton Bowl Speedway. Green flag, green light, let's go racing.
Another track on a back-to-back. So I got to tell you, man, these promoters and race teams and all that that we have down here down south, that it's not really used to all of that, but it really is. It seems like everybody, Bobby, is racing this weekend. Talk about Texana. I mean, you guys, I mean, for you, you're like in a pickle. It's like you have to be in 2 places at one time. Super excited for another race night there at TRP.
Yeah, the late models used to be a really good crowd. I'm looking forward to another big crowd in attendance just because the late models are there. That last race they had, Austin Tice dominated it. Bo finished second, was hanging in there. But I mean, they put on a hell of a show. It'd be hammered down again. Hopefully the guys that have been having the local troubles with some of the gremlins and stuff they had have been able to work out whatever demons they have or gremlins they have to get their shows and get their programs back up in order to be competitive again coming up here in 2024. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, Texana is about 2 hours from everywhere. So that's if you're not going to be in Houston, not going to be at a local short track, check it out on Race On for sure. You get to hear the golden tones of this sweet, sexy voice on Race On.
There you go. You'll get to hear that right there on a very busy Saturday night on Race On. As like I said, we'll kind of dig into some of the stuff right there. I did kind of going back to Houston right there. I was talking to some folks today, and they were talking about our man Brandon Gaither, winning in the truck race. I mean, you had the incident obviously right there at the end of that with, or not at the end, but with about 20 to go, there with Jared and the boss man Jake Kruger, where all that happened. I mean, those two guys had kind of separated. Gaither waited, sitting back right there in Jim Teague's 71 truck that Jake Kruger had won in prior. There were some folks asking, who won that race or whatever. And I know that they were doing tech stuff or whatever, but I do want to I want to be very clear here on Revved Up tonight on May the 6th that the winner of that truck race was Brandon Gaither. I mean, the dude hadn't been in a race car in a long time. I mean, it'd been like 2 years. I talked to him down there in T&L Maintenance Victory Lane before he went to you. And it was very clear how excited he was. I mean, truck winner. I mean, no doubt about it. I'm not sure what the question was on any of that stuff. I know there were things happening, but that dude's a winner. I mean, that guy was a winner.
Well, every time they pull heads, everybody wants to know who won. Because we didn't actually get to do an on-track interview, an in-depth behind-the-scenes interview with him, just because by the time they were done pulling heads, it was really late. We thought some more rain was coming, so we kind of shut down the on-track interview. So we'll try to get Brandon on here sooner rather than later to talk about his win in a truck.
Yeah, we will definitely talk to him because that was really cool for him to dive in. Speaking of guys that we hadn't seen in a while, take a look right here. Where in the hell has this guy been? Talk about sweeping off the dust off of people. It is our man Jason Marshall. Miss y'all's ugly mugs. Hey, look, when a nice looking dude like Jason Marshall calls me ugly, I will consider that a compliment. What, Jason? Where in the hell are you, my man? Bring that thing out. Come on, man. I need you in the modifieds. We need you. Come on, man. Bring that thing out.
Too busy car washing.
Too busy car washing.
Too busy car washing. That's what it is. Of course, he's got a handful of young little ladies that he's got to take care of and keep an eye on too. So got a party of 6 when he goes somewhere now.
Dude's got a nest, man. I tell you, he's got a whole Bush's Chicken 8-pack right there with everything that he's doing. Thoughts on the wreck? I was waiting who was going to ask that. So, breaking news. Look at that. It's a damn good thing we got 11 dates or had 11 dates this year. Thoughts on the wreck? So, man, I wish I had the video pulled up. I knew somebody would ask, but I don't have the video. But so for those of you that were there, look, these guys go into the corner. They were by far the two best trucks at that point in the race. To me, Brandon, he needed a yellow to be able to get up to them because they had separated themselves so much. They go into the corner and they lean on each other, whoever it was. And this is, Bobby, for me, where it gets so hard, and I'm sure the same for you. These are my buddies. These two are my buddies. And it's like, who do I want to piss off? Which one of these guys do I want to piss off? I'm not going to piss off either one of them, because what happened right here is one leaned on one going into the corner. And then they get to the other side of the racetrack and the other one leaned on the other one a little bit. Then they come back around again. And then they both said, fuck it. I am done with it. I'm done with it. And anybody that's ever put that helmet on, that's put that suit on, you know what that feels like. You know, you have been in that seat. If you are a true competitor, you have been in that seat. And it's not about whose fault was it. It's more of, how did it happen? How did it happen? They were racing each other wheel to wheel. That's what happened. That's good racing.
I mean, and it's a full contact sport, kind of like football. You're bound to make contact, especially with as fast as those two trucks were. They were lights out compared to everybody else, and for them to be able to be as competitive as they were, there was extenuating circumstances between parties involved, but at the same time, I mean, those guys were lights out. I mean, and you're going to get that between two competitive guys. It's not like those guys are in the back putting around, being like, I'm just happy to be here. Those guys are sitting in that seat fully loaded, on a dynamite keg going, I'm here to kick ass and take names. What's the Roddy Piper line from They Live? I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. That's what it is. They were all out of bubblegum. They were just there to kick ass. And, the immovable object versus the, additional force or whatever that is from WrestleMania 3 with Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. That's what happened. I mean, the immovable force, with the immovable object, that's what happens when you get together like that.
Well, and here's the other part of that. I mean, just with everything that happened that night. So you had Jared, you had Maupin that comes in, and he's in. He'd already won the outlaw race,
and set fast time
in the truck in both. So I mean, going into the weekend, and I can tell you, I know it was not the plan for Jared to drive the outlaw. That happened on Friday, but there was a lot of talk, ourselves included, other people. I mean, just it was a big buzz about Jared Maupin going over to pavement, and the fact that when I saw Jake Kruger roll out in Reiniger's truck in the 14, I'm like, okay, this dude is here for one reason, and it's to beat the 96. And I'll be damned. I mean, look, the 14 truck is a very good truck. Reiniger's a great driver. Michelle is a very good driver. But Jake Kruger pushed that truck to for those of you that don't know, that's midnight. That's 48. That's
Jake Wright's old truck.
That's Jake Wright's old truck. And so that truck has a history right there. And for the way that Jake Kruger pushed that truck to the front of the pack, he was on a mission to beat the 96. So you knew that if it came to a point, and why would he not want to beat the 96? Because me, you, everybody else, ODS, Race On, Racing America, everybody else is talking about, whoa, man, here comes this dirt track driver. Is this guy really that good? He's coming over to pavement. Would you not do that? I mean, would you not rub on this dude? Would you not test him? That's racing, man. And that's some of the best racing that we've seen around here in a long time. That's the intensity that we need in Texas racing. That's how you build rivalries. That's how you build folks that watch that shit from around the country. And they're like, I want to go be a part of that. I want to go be a part of that.
There's not a better place for it than HMP, because HMP needed that. They needed that shot in the arm. They needed that adrenaline rush. They needed those fans to see something. Those fans are coming back. Those fans will be back in the grandstands on the 11th, coming up this weekend for Mother's Day, because they saw some really good racing. And I mean, I mean, if I was there in Houston, if I wasn't going to Texana to do the job that I do at Texana, I'd be going back to Houston to watch it again.
Mm-hmm. And you could tell, I mean, you could tell the fortitude, if you want to call it that, with the two drivers when the incident happened coming out of turn 4. And I talked about this on the broadcast, where those two guys get locked up. And when they're spinning, when they're literally spinning out, they are both spinning those tires. Neither one of them lit off. Neither one of them lit out. And I think the fact that you had the emotion after that, both of those dudes were pissed off. As they should be, and it's, man, that's what this sport is built on. When we talk about, and the whole thing is, a lot of folks here in Texas, it's like you guys go racing in Houston, and it's follow the leader and all this, that, and the other. I mean, I hope a bunch of dirt track folks were watching that or go back and watch that, because that's the way that you race on pavement right there. You get dudes going after it, and you get dudes going for the win, just like y'all do on dirt. It just so happened that it was one of the dirt guys that was a part of it, but man, that right there, in my opinion, Bobby, that's one of the biggest moments that we've had in pavement racing around here in a long time, in a very long time.
Yeah, no, that's one of the it factor moments that helps make or break a season. And I don't think it's going to break the season by no means, but I mean, you may have lost 2 trucks for a week to work on repairs, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen that next week. So, bring them out, let them have fun, let it eat. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see here. Checking on Bo. Not sure what's going on here with Bo. I'm going to work on him here for just a second. So while I do that, how about we dive in and get a word from our friends at On Demand Shirts.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here again with the Revved Up Sports Show. For nearly 3 years now, you've heard me talking about our valued partners over at Generation Race Cars. In 2023, GRC built cars visited Victory Lane on 46 occasions, driven by 9 different drivers. This year, GRC drivers are picking up right where they left off, as young Christian Gaston has already won at Cannondale Speedway. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built to the same high standards we have at GRC. Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. When you're ready to order a new car for 2024, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call at 817-528-2947. That's 817-528-2947. Take your program to victory lane with Team GRC.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Good stuff right there from our man, Phil Whipple. Well, I don't know what happened, but we got it figured out. Let's dive in right here and see if we have him on our feed. I think I hear some noise right there. Well, Begno, how we doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell was happening back there in that studio, but thanks for checking in, dude. Okay, I think we might be going to video right here for him. Bo, so let's talk about late models, man. Talk about the year for you so far.
Yes, sir. So we've really fought rain mostly this year. We've gotten 4 nights under our belt. We've been in the top 5 every night. So we're really starting out strong and just looking to keep gaining every week.
Absolutely.
We started out our season at Edna. I believe it was that was our first race out, and we started the season trying out some new stuff, and we struggled a little bit, and we've tuned on it every race since then, and the car's gotten a lot better since then. So we're looking to have some better results this weekend.
Absolutely.
So, I think a lot of people were surprised at the car count there that opened at night there for the late models there at Texana. A lot of really good, solid competitors there, and good racing. What's the do you guys have what's your opinion on that little track? Is it just racy enough, just big enough to be fast? I mean, you won there before, so talk about the allure of racing down at Texana.
It's definitely different racing there with the crate motor. You've got to have enough gear to get off the corner, but you've also got to have enough gear to not be on the chip at the flag stand. So it's definitely tricky, and starting position is very key there.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. So for you, Bo, let's talk about kind of back to the late model thing. I'm really seeing the resurgence that we're looking for in the late models here in the Texas area. I mean, I know that you kind of expand yourself a little bit, but I mean, whether it be at 37 there at Texana, I mean, some of the races at the race ranch, it really looks like guys are really starting to buy into this, whether on the crate side, and really wanting to race late models in Texas. And I think that's finally, it's about damn time, in my opinion.
Right. I've raced 4 times this year, and 3 of the 4 nights we've had B mains. So
Damn.
we went to Louisiana and we had 40 plus cars, but both nights. So it's definitely taken off.
Absolutely.
So in terms of expense wise, dude, how much more expensive is it to run a late model versus say one of those big IMCA modifieds, one of the big mods? I mean, is it apples and oranges, or is it like apples and grapes? I mean, what's the cost comparison between the two? Because you've run a lot of different machines, but it seems like you found your home in a late model.
Right. So I originally ran an IMCA mod before we switched over to the late model, but it kind of evens out because our payout, they pay us very well. So the biggest expense for us is tires. So that's really the only cost difference between a mod and a late model. And I mean, of course, if we tear something up, everything's a little bit more custom. So it's a little bit more expensive to replace.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, exactly. So Bo, kind of talk about that, like when we were talking about you racing outside of Texas, kind of talk about that a little bit. I know that I've been to a couple of late model races in Mississippi and a couple in Louisiana. And we're here, we talk in Texas where we're trying to get big mods back and all of that. Man, when it comes to crate late models and even the big block late models up there, or over there in the Southeast, man, sheesh, that is massive over there with the late models.
they got 3 classes of late models over there. So those guys, they know what's going on. But It's kind of fun racing over there. That's where my dad grew up racing, over in Louisiana, Mississippi. So I get to race with a lot of people he used to race with, and it's also fun not knowing a lot of the people you're racing with, because it's just a mystery every time you pull onto the track. You don't know how that person's going to race you, and you don't know how to race them.
I love that.
Well, Bo, usually if they bang your door, that means you got to bang them back. That's rule number 1, right? When you go to enemy territory. But in terms of, talk about the different dirt services between here and Louisiana and Mississippi. Because we got Texas has some red dirt, depending on where you go. Like say if you go to Cotton Bowl, they got some dark brown sand kind of dirt. When you go to Texana, they got they got red dirt over there in Louisiana. Talk about the different dirt services that you get to race on between Texas and Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yeah, so we just came back from Baton Rouge and Pike County, Mississippi, and there's nothing but sand over there. So we had a fair share of sand, and it's a little bit more abrasive and carries a little bit more grip than our tracks over here. So we have to adjust for that, and it's just a different ball game than what we have over here. That black dirt, it gets a little slicker, and when it's gripped up, it's way more gripped up than what they have over there.
Yeah. So, Bo, are there any thoughts for you? I mean, I know, I say it, Bo knows late models. Any thoughts to do some of that other stuff? Maybe back to a modified or sport mod or factory stock or any of that? Or are you solely set on just following along with what you're doing with late models?
I'm open to any opportunity that presents itself. So, whatever comes in front of me, I'm down to take up that offer. But as far as our racing program goes, we're solely focusing on the late model.
Absolutely.
So, Bo, we're lucky that we have people that know racing when they watch this show. But we have some people that when they download the podcast don't know what a late model is. So in layman's terms, describe what a late model is to people. Like if you see, Joe Blow at Walmart and says, "Oh, you're a race car driver. What do you drive?" "I drive a late model." What is it? So explain the what is it part to us.
It's a custom fabricated chassis. I mean, we've got different chassis builders that we use. Like mine's a Rocket XR1, and they're just custom fabricated chassis and we have certain rules such as like wheelbase and width and things like that. But we're on a 14-inch tire, and we have certain body rules that we have to follow.
So, Bo, let's talk about the crates, because a lot of folks, you say the word crate and they're like, whatever. Watching you guys in these crate late models, man, it's producing a lot of horsepower in the way that you guys manipulate these cars and do the things that you do. When you get in a crate late model, you are definitely not lacking any kind of horsepower because you guys are just flying around these racetracks.
Yes, sir. So I really enjoy when the track slicks off. So they're a lot more racy when we can race on a slicker surface. It puts it more in the driver's hands. But they definitely have plenty of power. When I started racing late models, like my first couple of times, we were actually racing against the open motors, that STLMS series that Cody Hardage ran.
Yeah.
So back then we were on hard tires all the way around, and the crates were allowed to run the big spoiler, and the open motors had to run the smaller spoiler. So it kind of leveled the playing field, and some if the track went slick, the crates were way better than the open motors.
So, Bo, I see some familiar stickers on your car. You have some friends that we have mutual, and that's ODS on-demand shirts. I thought I saw on your Facebook page the other day you got some good-looking merch coming out. Is that going to be available for the fans this weekend down at Texana?
Yes, sir. This week will be the first weekend we're selling shirts. So I'd love for y'all to stop by the trailer and pick up some merch, some hats.
That's awesome. Bo, how important is that? I mean, a lot of guys don't get it. I mean, I think it's super cool for guys like you to come on shows like this, to just talk about the sport, to expand it, to all of that. But the fact that you can sell that stuff and have people walking around with your car and your name on that, man, that not only promotes you, but I think it really enhances and promotes our sport extremely well.
For sure. I mean, it's a really good spotlight for my sponsors on my car. And not only that, I mean, it helps our race program financially. So
right.
It's a small way for a person in the stands to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen the proof of those shirts, and I talked to James Cole about them. He's really excited about those shirts coming to you too, there at Texana this upcoming weekend. So, in terms of late model racing as a whole, like if you took the snapshot, we're not quite midway through the season, but if you take the snapshot of where late model racing is right now, where is it? Is it in high gear now? Is it waiting for a couple of more tracks to come online and have more shows? I mean, where is it right now in the state? Let's just say state of Texas, maybe South Texas. Where's the state of late model racing in right now?
I think it's constantly growing. The Dallas series is still taking off. Dustin Daniel and now Donnie Ship is going in partners with Dustin Daniel. They're doing great things up there. Owen's doing great things down here. It'd be awesome if we get a couple more tracks on board with us, so we have a little diverse tracks we can race. So I think it's constantly growing, and it's only going to get better from here on out.
Yeah, Bo, it really does seem like to me that this class is with the late models. It's a very specialized class to where, I know some folks have tried to do late models every week and on a regular program, but I think to me it's more kind of like the sprint cars, to where it needs to be a special, because you guys, your cars look very different from anything else. You got all these stock cars, you got all these modifieds, you got all these different things. But I mean, the late models, it needs to be a series. It needs to be a special race to where you guys come into town and it's a big damn deal, because it really is when you guys come to town.
Right. It gets the fans excited for a different class to show up and put some people in the stands.
Yep. Absolutely. Totally agree. I think that's going to be the key. So for you at Texana, what's going to take to win this one, man? Like Bobby was talking about, that's a little bit of bull ring that can throw you some monkey wrenches depending on what the track does.
For sure. I know we just need to show up with a little bit less traction this weekend. We were way too tight all weekend when we showed up there the first weekend, but I think we've made the right adjustments throughout the last couple of weeks of racing, and I guess time will tell.
Absolutely.
Well, Bo, I'm looking forward to seeing you and a whole boatload of late models down there in Texana this weekend. So hopefully you guys will bring the whole gang, Oregon Trail style, nose to tail, all the way down to Texana. So looking for a good race weekend from you guys, and hope to see you. Can't pick favorites, but I hope to talk to you in Victory Lane later on that night.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, Bo. Sorry about the glitch right there, but thanks for hanging with us, brother.
It's all good. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Take care. You bet. There he goes. Bo Begno. That is, I like that dude right there. That is Bobby, that's another guy that we talk about around here. I mean, there's so many young shoes in this vicinity, this area, whatever you want to call it, that are really, really good. And Bo, with the late models right there, that whole late model thing, that fascinates me so much, because I have really dug into liking the Lucas Oil dirt late models, and to watch that we have those here, man. I would love to see this thing blow up, and it seems like finally, we're on the right direction with those.
Yeah, they put on a hell of a race at Texana opening night. I think they brought 22 cars, something like that. It was a boatload of cars, and they put on a hell of a race. Top two were kind of lights out, but then you had that battle, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Like, they were grouped together, and they were putting, slide jobs and back and forth and bouncing off the front fence and all kind of good old fashioned hard nosed racing in expensive ass race cars. That's what you like to see sometimes.
That's exactly right. Nothing wrong with that. Like we were talking about with the truck race, it's okay to get out there and race each other. That's the name of the game. You get out there and you race to win. You guys stick around. Coming up, we'll have our race on calendar. Everything coming up this weekend, and it's a lot. It is a lot. So be ready to write stuff down. We'll get that for you here momentarily. But first, a word from our friends at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet. Good stuff right there. So you guys that wanted to hear from Dietz, when we were trying to figure out what was going on with Bo, and kind of figured out there that we were having kind of some kind of communication thing there, I messaged Alan. He said, talk to the racer. That's it. That's in his voice. He messaged me, but talk to the racer. We can talk later. So there you go. That sounds like a guy that has run a show or two in the past.
Sounds like a guy that's been in both our seats more than one occasion, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the joy of going live, though. People, we love the feedback we get on the podcast replays, but we love the live show. We've been doing it since day one, since we started the show. And we love the interaction we get with Michael Lindsay checking in, saying, "Hey guys, sorry I'm late." You got interaction with Chris Carroll, Jason Marshall, interaction with each other. You got Travis Farmer trying to talk to Jason Marshall. We love the live aspect of the show. It doesn't get any better than that, because it can change the direction that we take a show by just based on some of the comments and stuff we see. So, we go live, we experience the ups and downs of the show and technical difficulties just like you guys do. But definitely, we definitely love all the replays that we get, but definitely love the live show for sure. That we don't call a live cast for no reason at all. And we are live and live in color.
Well, and a lot of times that's the best part of it, because when you get into a scenario to where something goes wrong, I mean, somebody forgets, or a lot of times what happens with this show is where when you get into the Eastern versus Central time zone, all of that gets so confusing. When that happens and you're like digging for content, it's like, okay, now what? Now what? And the good thing about having that live concept right there, where folks can interactively check in and be a part of this and throw topics out and throw the curveballs and do all this different shit, that saves the show a lot of times. And I got to tell you, a small part of me is, when things go wrong. It used to be when I was very new at this, things went wrong, and I'm like, oh shit, what do I do now? Now things go wrong, and it's like, all right, watch this. And a lot of times, Bobby, I think when we've had things go wrong, we can go back into the archives, and that's been some of the best freaking radio, or whatever we want to call it, that we've ever done. Because that's the stuff where it ain't written down. It's nothing. It is totally extemporaneous to where it just boom, it just comes out. It just happens.
Yeah, no, it's usually it's the first take, definitely for me, especially when we used to do the FM show. I used to not know who we were having on the show until I walked in the studio about 5 minutes before we went live on the air. I say, who we got? And you tell me who we got. So, it is a live hot take for damn sure. It's unfiltered race opinion. We give it to you our way, the only way we know how, which is unfiltered and uncensored. And that's, that's the way we like it. Hell, that's the way that everybody else seems to like it too.
That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always been. Recorded is great. Recorded, ain't nothing like a smooth transition. Everything running smooth, and it's just like boom, boom, clockwork. Everybody's smiling. But when you see Bobby and I over here sweating because somebody missed a call or somebody forgot or whatever the hell, dude, that makes it even more special. There is that On Demand Shirts live store. Speaking of live, that store is live, going for you guys. Shirts, hoodies, caps, all that good stuff is right there, courtesy of our friends at On Demand Shirts. Go ahead and scan that QR code. Go to RevvedUpSportsShow.com. Click up at the top. It says Revved Up Merch. You will find it all right there. Get a hold of some of that stuff and wear that stuff out to the racetrack. It's really cool nowadays that I'm going to the racetrack and I'm starting to see people wear that. Pretty damn cool. Quickly back over, Josh checking in. How about the car count for the dwarfs at Cotton Bowl Speedway? I think I saw 42. I think I saw 42 is what I saw out there. And what more can you say? And when you talk about dwarf car racing here in Texas, you got the Lone Star the Dwarf Car Series, and then you got the Dwarf Car Racing Series of Texas. And Cotton Bowl's kind of the one place where they can kind of migrate. And I know that they do their event there to where everybody shows up and it's a national thing. But what can you say? Other than shit, way to go. I'm impressed. Damn, that's 42 cars. That's pretty damn impressive.
That's really impressive. And what's more impressive is the same guys still continue to kick their ass.
Well, that was my thought. That's what I was going to follow up and say. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's kind of like baking a cake or trying a different recipe. No matter what you do, throw it in the crock pot, throw it in the oven, add a little bit of cilantro, maybe do this other stuff, whip it all up. And when it's all said and done, the same dude whips their ass. I think the question, like Bobby said right there, should be more of who's going to beat that guy. 42 cars is great, but the other 41 can't beat that one. That's my question.
That's right. One of the other 41 bound to step up and be a little bit faster.
You would think. Our man Workman doing Workman's doing like us now. He's a race car driver, race announcer. By the way, great job, Jennifer Kidd, jumping up there and doing all that. She'll probably replace all of us here before it's all said and done. 28 E-mods come out of the woodwork to throw down at I-37. God bless America. I wish those bootleggers that wanted to race at Houston all these years would show up this weekend. 28 bootleggers. That would be fun.
That's a lot of E-mods for a. It was a special show to a certain extent, but not like an eco mod focus show. That's crazy. They got 28 mods and a good crazy. So Congrats to the guys and gals down there that made that pull to make that show happen.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good right there because with the E-mods, of course, they're very strong in Corpus. I know at the Race Ranch, that's usually one of the highest producing classes, usually, 16, 17 of those. I know they're good out at Texana. So I'm glad they all got together in one spot. That kind of needs to be the thing right there. But again, there's only a certain amount of race dates that you can produce. But I'm just glad that this weekend happened to work well there for the Natty 30 for everyone to show up there at 37. That looked like a fun night there as well.
Yeah, it looked like that Natty race turned out really good there at 37. Definitely lots of cars. They getting a ton of fireballs down there too. Lots of them old asphalt cars pulling out of the woodwork and going dirt track racing.
Yep. All right, so let's go to the Race On calendar. The things coming up this week, presented by raceon.com. And of course, you can find all the upcoming events, and we just go straight off of what our media partners right there have. So it's not to say that these are the only events that are going to be happening in the state of Texas and surrounding vasectomies or vicinities. But so let's start it off, Bobby. Friday, May the 10th, the Battle at Boot Hill. I think that's a 2-night event, so you know that's going to be well attended.
Yeah, our buddy Colin Bell's already commented on that one. He ready for 70+ factory stocks at Boot Hill. What's that pay? 5,000 to win on Saturday?
Yeah, he'll have to tell us. I mean, I'm sure that's another one of those big, 70 plus is what Colin says right there. So that's going to be huge. I'll tell you, one of the ones that I'm excited to see. Can't be a part of it this year. I've done it in the past, but on Friday, you've got the full show happening over at Heart of Texas Speedway. But on top of that, one of the only racetracks, I think probably the only one that you will find an intentional destruction derby. The demo derby at Heart of Texas Speedway coming up on Friday night. So, boom, there you go. You want to see cars crash on purpose? Well, intentionally. The object of that thing is to destroy each other at Heart of Texas Speedway on Friday.
That's not, the demo derby always brings out a hell of a crowd there when they come to Heart of Texas.
Yeah. $5,000 to win, Bobby, is that one at Boot Hill.
5,000 to Boot Hill. That's going to bring him out of the woodwork. I bet we see. I bet for some reason that's going to make some Race on Texas highlights, probably with a little bit of big dog racing, popping each other for a win or popping each other for a spot. I just got a feeling we're going to see highlights of that race on for sure.
Fighting in the pits, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You're going to have all kinds of cool stuff happening. I mean, the big purses like that. I mean, that tends to bring out this. I think that one was $100 to win, as a matter of fact. All right, back to May 10th. You got the Comp Cams Super Dirt Series at Batesville. Of course, you'll find that on raceon.com. And again, that's a huge series now that has become a part of it. And there we go, talking about late models. Man, I'm so excited to see that growth of that happening, and a lot of it right here on Race On.
Yeah, no, the growth of that series has been exponential the last couple of years. They put a rocket on the back of that series, and it has taken off in a good way. Great racing, great coverage from Race On. So they got it going. They got it going on in the right direction in multiple fronts, both from an on-track perspective with the competition, and then with the on-track, the off-track stuff with the production and the support from Race On.
Absolutely. On to Saturday, you have the rescheduled Mike Melton Memorial. We talked a couple of weeks ago, all fired up about that one. I like that they rescheduled that within close proximity to the unfortunate cancel date. So you have that comp cams again at Batesville, regular racing program at RPM. So RPM is going to be off and going at Crandall. So there you go. We start going up to the upper echelons of the Texas part of Texas, and it starts right there at Crandall.
Yeah, no, right there, RPM and those guys, they don't run as many races as they used to, but they're more of a quality over quantity racetrack. You know, when they get racing, you're gonna get a damn good show.
No doubt. Like that a lot. STEM series, we talked about it. They go back to the huge Cotton Bowl Speedway, along with a regular racing program happening right there at CBS. So you get the STEMS cars. I mean, we've talked so many different weeks, it seems like, on here. Each and every time that the STEMS cars get on the racetrack, that car count is growing. You've got extra money coming in. They go back to Cotton Bowl. I foresee a lot of damn STEMS modifieds making their way to Page.
As long as they can get some of those guys, if they have questionable weather up north, I think that you're going to see a damn good car count for sure with some of those guys heading south. So it depends on, we don't want to wish any bad weather on our friends up north. Lord knows they don't need any more. rain, water, wind, hail, all that stuff. But if they get questionable weather, I think there's going to be a boatload of people coming to Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. And now that you mentioned that, I mean, lots of thoughts to folks in Southeast Texas, up there into all those parts affected by weather. I mean, it's been horrible, and they got hammered again yesterday. You were talking about the drive back. I was thinking about all those folks as we were trying to make our way back. $1,200 on the line for the modifieds. We're talking about stems. $1,200 to win for the modifieds here at Rocket Raceway Park. So you got a big one going on in Petty. So our Mansa Stare with a big show there, and Rocket continues to dazzle with their great calendar in 2024.
I love what they do at Rocket. At one point, we're going to get to Rocket and enjoy a race weekend up there with Kevin. He's always a great guest when he comes on here, and always just one of those guys that just, he knows what the hell he's doing. He takes crap like every promoter does, but deep down, you got to respect the guy because he still keeps putting on great show after great show after great show.
Absolutely. Battle at Boot Hill. So the big race there, Boot Hill, coming up on, this is all Saturday that we're talking about right now. Battle at Boot Hill, that'll be a great event as well. The race you'll be at, Texana Raceway Park, the American Crate Late Model Series coming in, along with all the regular action happening right there. There at Texana Raceway Park, the newly refurbished, extravagant Texana Raceway Park, fan-friendly, fan goodies, all kinds of cool stuff happening out there, man. And late models ripping around that little bitty old place. I think that's going to be a blast for you, my man.
I'm gonna have a damn good old time coming up on Saturday night. I hate that I'm missing Houston because I got a lot of friends and good racing buddies there in Houston. But it's okay. I'll go back to Texana and have a good time. Going to give out some championship awards from the 2023 season during intermission. So it's going to be a good little show there. But speaking of summertime, do you realize that all those cars that got wrecked in that legacy race were cars that I was supposed to race?
Man, that was some painful wrecking that I saw right there. And I've saw some conversation there, or seen some conversation there with people talking about, driving beyond the hood and all this, that, and the other. It's easy for me to say, as a guy that raced for, or has raced, or will race, or whatever, for a lot of years, to not race beyond the hood. But when you're a newer driver in one of these things, I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening. And from time to time, I question some stuff that happens on the racetrack. At one point on Saturday, I'm like, that car was sitting there for a little bit. But that's me as a 20 some odd year veteran of racing cars. I mean, I'm programmed to look for that. And God, dog it, man, those legacy wrecks, dude, those were, sheesh, those hurt me.
They were wicked, and there ain't a lot of parts available for those cars anymore.
Oh, man.
Year-old cars that they don't have a lot of open production of.
Man, I go back and I watch that Calvin Johnston Megatron. I watch that wreck right there, and I'm like, shit. I watch that and my eyes hurt. It's like, God.
Yeah, Dalton Wayne, actually perfect timing, checking in, saying that was me in that bad wreck.
Oh man, you know what? I posted yesterday. I'm like, man, I've been the hitter and the hittee, and I don't give a damn which one you are. It fucking hurts, and especially in those little cars. Yeah, that was rough. Back to the calendar, courtesy of Race On, Super B Speedway, and I thought this was really cool when I look at this one and I see powder puff races. Oh
man. Well, Mother's Day weekend, powder puff races, that makes sense.
I totally agree.
It's a damn good idea when you think about it.
Yeah, all you mothers, get behind the wheel. Quit fighting in the stands and get behind the wheel and get out there and race yourself. We need to send Cheryl James over there. Send Cheryl James to Super B Speedway.
Yeah, that's where Marianne got her start, was in the powder puffs.
Send those two over there. Send those two to Super B and say, all right, here we go. We got two ringers. Go pull their hair. It ain't coming off. They're real women. 105 Speedway, Southern States Modifieds. Again, this is all on Saturday. So, I mean, right there down the road, not down the road, but right there in the general vicinity as well from HMP. So 105 each and every week, and they got a big one this week as well.
Yeah, definitely. They got their program run. Defending, reigning, Race On, Russ Promoters of the Year over at 105 Speedway. So for them to get that award, they definitely have their act together over there at Cleveland.
That's right. And of course, Houston, like we mentioned, spectator drags coming up, or spectator races is what we'll call them. Be looking on the HMP Oval track page, hmpoval.com, for more information about that. And you'll have modifieds, trucks, everything, all of that happening on back-to-back weekends, which this will be the second weekend happening at Houston. And we round it out, the last one on the calendar, on the race on calendar, Grayson County Speedway Outlaw Modifieds. Modifieds everywhere, Bobby. It's about freaking time, man.
They're out and about and in full force, regardless whether you're up north with arms or you got the stems down at the bottom. Like they said, when the rising tide raises all boats, definitely good to see the racing in the big mods come back.
Absolutely. So plenty of racing happening this weekend. I promise you, you will find a place to go to a racetrack. If you want to see it in person, if you want to find a streamer, there are plenty of streamers that will find it for you if you're not able to get to one of these places. And I think the coolest part about this is, Bobby, I know going into this weekend, you know, you're always looking at weather. I'm always looking at weather at the beginning of the week. Most places that I look at right here, everybody's going to be just fine. It seems
Don't be hot, but it's going to be just fine.
That's right. Here is the beginning of your summer, is what's about to happen right now, because it's time to go racing in person, and you have a full Monty of places to go. Man, this has been great. Bobby, any closing thoughts on the NASCAR stuff? I know we kind of jumped away from that. We were kind of talking about the finish right there. I think the Kansas race was good. Again, we're in a situation right now with NASCAR to where it seems like that with the new car, they were trying to do whatever they were trying to do. But what they did is they finally enhanced the 1.5 miles. I mean, Texas was a good race, for crying out loud. I mean, this right here. I mean, the middle race, the Xfinity race, was a different car. But I mean, look at what we're seeing right now. I mean, I think it's a good time to enjoy this. And look, just embrace it. It was a good weekend for NASCAR.
There's nothing wrong with saying the phrase the NASCAR race was good. Nothing wrong with saying the phrase the NASCAR race was great. It's okay to have those things. It's not mutually exclusive. NASCAR racing can be good. Now, do some of the races suck? Yes, they suck. We've sat through them. We've called some of them. They're not all going to be great. But the good news is that more oftentimes than not, these 1.5 mile speedways have the car of tomorrow, Gen 7, whatever you want to call it now. They have definitely come through and made the 1.5 mile programs better than it's been in a long time. But they really, really need to get to work on that short track package. We'll see if this alternate tire deal is going to work. I don't foresee them doing that in a regular race, but the one thing we know for sure that we've learned over the course is it's the pandemic is NASCAR is open to just about anything right now.
That's right. And also, Max Verstappen lost. How about that? Lando Norris, McLaren, a win there at Miami. I was getting a lot of shit because I said Verstappen's going to win, blah, 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 blah. But hey, there you go.
And that I hadn't seen the ratings yet come out for that, but that should have got killer rating because NASCAR did not start the Kansas race until the Formula One race was over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were delayed. So I think a lot of that, like you're saying, with the ratings, I mean, I think once it got to the point to where Max was not in the front, I think that would have drawn some people in. And I was waiting to where it was going to be a situation to where Max would eventually get the lead back. But I mean, Lando with the McLaren, I mean, he got out front. And I said this morning on Texas Sports Unfiltered. I think it's a big deal for McLaren, not only to win that race, but I mean, they're going to be a big part of Indianapolis this month for them to win the Miami Grand Prix or Grand Prix of Miami and going to Indy and all that. I mean, good for them. It's about damn time. It's about damn time we have a little bit of a change in the current waves that we see all the time.
Well, that was the most updated McLaren that Lando Norris was driving with all the new 2024 upgrades, mid-season upgrades. So they definitely found something right with that package. So it's it was good to see it. It was a good race. I'm still not a fan of the layout in Miami. I mean, they're running around a purpose-built road course, world-class road course in the middle of a football stadium parking lot. I mean, they could do better. I mean, of course, we also thought that Las Vegas was going to be a shit show too, and we were both wrong about that.
Well, and I was talking to some friends over the weekend, and we were talking about, with F1. I mean, are we saturated with 3 events? With here, Obviously, I don't want this race to go anywhere. But you've got Austin, you've got Vegas, and you got Miami. And again, I mean, the place did not lack for people. I mean, it's people with a lot of money that go to these things. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just glad somebody else won. I mean, I think that's something good for the Formula One series.
I think it's good. Parity makes for a better race. The problem is that even though Max has been kicking their ass, that battle from second to ninth has been fairly entertaining, and that's what they were focusing on. I got to listen to about 3/4 of the race on the radio on the way back with Sky Sports Radio, and they very rarely mentioned Verstappen. They mentioned him more when he was in second place than they did when he was out front whooping their ass. So definitely was a good race with the parity of him not actually winning. So.
No doubt. My highlight of all that from what I saw was Danica in that sundress. You guys, here is the Revved Up Sports Show website. Hit that QR code right there. It takes you right to that as well. You can catch all the live shows. You got all the archived audio and video shows. The latest one is going to play for you right there in the middle of the page. Just hit that right there and you go back and replay that. And of course, here is your on-demand shirts, Revved Up merchandise page as well. That is a live store, locked and loaded, ready to go, that will take care of you guys. And thank you for hitting that, whoever just hit it, because I saw somebody clicked on that. So a very good thing right there. Bobby, very fun show. Rest of the week, my man. Lots of things going on, lots of things to work on. And lots of racing coming up. And yeah, we'll be in separate spots. You on dirt and me on pavement. How about that shit?
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting week. I got some homework to do to get my guys right with the championship trophy presentations during intermission there at Texana. Might even do a little bit extra research, try to get some more names and hometowns ready to go with some late models. But all in all, just going to play a little catch up. This next couple of weeks going to get busy because we're going to be out and about and air all over the place here in the next few weeks. So.
Yep. The fun is over. I was looking at my calendar here for the next several months, and it is balls to the wall. So looking forward to that as we are knee deep in the heat of racing season.
Memorial Day will be here before we know it, too. That's some good racing coming up locally and nationally on Memorial Day.
That's right. And be keeping an eye on the page right here. Maybe put something together for you, race previews and all that good stuff. So just kind of keep an eye on the Revved Up Sports Show page. All right, you guys. Thank you all for checking in. Thanks to our man, Kenneth Canales checking in, and our man, Bo Begno, for being a part of the program tonight. And Alan Dietz will get you on the flip side, man, and talk some short track racing with him. Bobby, have a great rest of the week, my man. Be safe. I'd say be weather wary, but weather wary means dress cool.
That's right. Drink lots of hydrating fluid. That's for sure.
Yep, that's right. All right, you guys. Thank you all for being a part of the program. We will do it again next Monday. # Real Race Talk live all the time. It is the Revved Up Livecast, the Revved Up Sports Show, RevvedUpSportsShow.com. You all be well. Find a racetrack. If you can't find a racetrack, find a streamer, and they will provide it for you. Have a great week, everybody. Be safe.